Dangerous Hurricane Harvey is getting better organized in the Gulf, headed for Texas. I'm Mike Nasel with the latest on the tropics. Mainly Hurricane Harvey, which as we look out there is the main feature in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see it's poised to begin intensifying there, and as you can see, the deep convection wrapping around a very tightly coiled circulation, and it's got a lot of moisture to work with. It's got a good upper level environment to work with. All systems seem go for Harvey becoming a major hurricane. So this is very, very concerning to everybody. Now here's the latest on Hurricane Harvey as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central. A new advisory will be out in an hour or so. It's at 24.7 north, 93.9 west. Winds were 85 miles per hour, gusting to 105. It's moving north-northwest at 10, 976 millibar on the pressure. And you can see the forecast track here. Pretty confident about it slamming into Texas as a major hurricane. But after that, the slowdown and where exactly it goes will determine who gets flooded out with this rainfall. And the rainfall is going to be prolific. Of course, in the short term, though, we are dealing with the aspect of a major hurricane. And that's going to be the most devastating impact. Somewhere between in the hurricane warning area, you're talking Port Mansfield, Sargent, Texas. You guys really got to be evacuating, listening to local emergency officials, because when this system comes in, it's going to mean business big time. Even though it's a small hurricane, it's going to be a very powerful one. But the forecast does have it coming back offshore, and that's where things get interesting. Because if it comes back offshore, it could re-intensify or at least still have a feed of moisture, which will be pumping more rainfall into the southern areas of the United States and the Gulf Coast, which is a big problem indeed. You can see some of these rainfall forecasts, 20 to 30 inches. I mean, in areas, say, from Corpus all the way to Baton Rouge, you guys are going to get just swamped with heavy rainfall, to say nothing about the immediate short-term impacts of a Category 3 hurricane, or maybe even a Category 4 based on this satellite image I'm about to show you. This does not look good, guys. This Harvey looks so well organized right now. You have an eye popping out in the middle of a bursting central dense overcast, tightly coiled circulation over hot August Gulf waters. This is about as favorable as it's going to get this close to an American coastline to have a rapidly strengthening major hurricane. So this is very serious. And if you're along the Texas coast, batten down the hatches because the rainfall will start soon. How soon? Well, let's look at the radar. Look at that. Already on the long-range Bronzeville radar, you can see the eye wall of this building hurricane starting to get better organized, especially at the end there. Still trying to work out some kinks, but that is a tightly coiled storm. These tightly coiled August hurricanes can be very violent cyclones when they come ashore, especially if they're strong. And it looks like this one is intensifying. We're going to have the Air Force out there examining, making sure that it's not rapidly strengthening, but after what we saw earlier today, the chances are this is going to strengthen into a major hurricane, at least a Category 3, if not even a Category 4, over the favorable waters with that small kind of inner core. That stuff can happen, and I know the guys at the Hurricane Center are probably concerned that we could see some rapid development with this, as we saw earlier today. Remember, last night it was a tropical depression, and then became a tropical storm, and now it's poised to become a significant major hurricane. So this is nothing to mess around with at all. If you live along the coastline, if you live inland, anywhere where there could be flooding, we're going to have big problems here with Harvey. So it's not looking good. There's another look at the infrared, and you can see right at the end there, note that gray bursting of the convection. That's a sign that it's going to wrap around the center, and we'll probably see a well-defined eye pop out, and we'll see it peak out sometime either at landfall or probably just before, but it's not going to be good news because the stronger the storm, the greater the impacts. Here are the experimental storm surge warnings from the National Hurricane Center, and you can see as it's forecast to be a Category 3 hurricane as of right now coming ashore. Look at these areas where Victoria is, close to Freeport. You're talking significant inundation along these barrier islands here. So when they tell you to get out, listen to their warnings and get out. This is probably an area around Port O'Connor, Indianola, Magnolia Beach, all these little areas, these, nice club communities and all that, good fishing spots. If you guys live around there or if you're traveling there, get out, listen to the local emergency officials, because the storm surge is what's going to really cause a lot of problems here as this comes in. Again, if you're in Corpus Christi down here, don't let your guard down. You have a strengthening hurricane coiling up offshore. However, it would seem to me that the focus would be north of Corpus, but that doesn't mean you won't get impacts or heavy rain. So there's still a lot of uncertainty, surprisingly, with this hurricane, but the one thing that is certain is that it's strengthening, it's forecast to be a major hurricane, and it's dangerous, and it's going to cause a lot of bad impacts. So I'm Mike Naso. I'll talk to you next time. We'll continue with frequent updates on dangerous Hurricane Harvey in the western Gulf of Mexico.